scene, and including Pennsylvania and other national outlets. And there's Facebook, Twitter, and web links there for you to follow her and connect. And she's going to talk about both of those projects with us and maybe a little bit of other tidbits of publishing, reports of reading and publishing to you.
Absolutely.
So welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Let me give you guys a hand first. And I want to give a special hand out to David Parker. David was the gentleman that I was introduced to. I was referred to by a friend. And David and I got into a conversation, and David referred me to Heidi. So I want to thank, special thanks to David Parker and to Heidi for inviting me and the rest of the group, okay? Because I think it's a wonderful group, especially for publishers and authors that I love. And one of the things that that motivated me to start television is because I thought that there wasn't enough literacy, and I know that lives can be transformed through books, okay? Because my life is constantly transformed through books. I at least sleep on my, have on my nightstand at least 5 to 6 books that I'm constantly reading that help my spirit with different things. So, you know, reading is so important. I've always wanted to go around the world and be an attorney, and and books are so great because, you know, if you pick up a book and you read the life of an attorney, you know what it's like. You know, you don't have to go through all the schooling and all that. So it's kind of like, you know, a way to learn things or to make your dreams come alive within yourself and get your ambition going again. So it's just tremendous amount of information that we can learn through literacy. But I also, like Heidi said, I also produce a television show, and I've produced many significant television shows. And the reason that I've done them is because there's nothing like media. It's television. And that's why I believe, like right now, we're in a historical time in our country. Especially New York right now is rocking, y'all. Okay? And when I look at each and every one of you here, I like to look at it as a family. Because I want to look at each and every one of you as my family member that I just haven't met yet. And I was sitting here absorbing everything that you were telling me in the introduction, because that is so significant to me. Because as a producer, I'm always listening to people's lives and their interests. As a matter of fact, let me just say that I've been a social worker for over 30 years. And as a social worker, that means that I have a natural instinct for people and want to know about them. People are just incredible. And my grandmother gave me this thing, always entertain strangers because they may be angels to you. Because you don't know who's going to bless you with something. You're only one person away from your blessing. You understand? And so I think it's so important. And I think writers and authors know that. You know, and I think the world needs to know that. You know, he's from Japan, she's from Africa. You know, we have a vast, rich culture, and that's, you know, in many different races and genders, and that's why I named it. It just came as a dream. It wasn't me, it was God. I don't know, I call God, you can call it whatever you want. You know, I respect all religion, but you know, there's one creator and we're all connected to him. Because I don't think there's no human being that doesn't have a heart, kidney, liver. Is everybody listening? Yep. I don't think there's no human being. You show me one that doesn't have a heart, eyes, ears, kidneys, liver, penis or vagina. We're all adults here, right? And so that means we're all connected as a human race, all right? And that's why I say you're my family. I love to read. I love to live to read. And I think that there are far too many people that are not reading, especially in the African American community that I've come from, that years ago they would have been literally killed in this United States of America for reading a book. We all know that, the history of slavery. And I just want to say that, like, I'm so excited about the fact that I'm living at this time, at this moment in life. And I'm sure you all are excited, because once and this is, matter of fact, this is symbolical because this is the 150th year of the Emancipation Proclamation, where Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation to free slaves. That's only 2 black women at 75 years old that died. Just think about it. That was just 2 black women that died at 75 years old. That was just a minute ago. You blink your eye And you know, I dare to tell you how old I am. I like to say I'm as old as you want me to be, you know what I mean? And I'm as old as I feel that day when I wake up, you know, and I pray and everything, and I really gear myself up, you know what I mean? So I like to think that we could think young and be young and have our spirits young, and writing does that. And Heidi was asking me about what topic I wanted to talk about. Well, mainly I think right now, because there's so much violence in the world, I think that lives can be transformed through books, and that we should combat violence with literacy. And the reason I'm saying that, and I'm using myself as an example, as growing up as a young woman, African-American woman in New York City, Brooklyn, I grew up in Brooklyn, I was very hurt and very angry. I came from a very dysfunctional family. I was illegitimate. I was hidden in most cases. In other cases, I was, oh, you're so loving, you're so pretty, you're so cute. But then in other cases, like hide her, put her away, you know, put her in the back room, don't let her come out, you know, stuff like that. It was a rough childhood growing up, but I didn't know it because that's all I was used to. But as an adult, I realized that that was really bad, because you start living your childhood in your adulthood. And I started running into brick walls, and I started having problems, you know. And so, I'm saying all that to say is that I lost my train of thought because I'm a little tired because I was working all night. But what I want to say is that when you can heal from things, I was able to heal. That's what I want to get back. That's why the name of my company is Pathways to Love and Healing. Because you can be healed from so many things if you have other people, and through books and through literacy and through writing. Because the only outlet that I had was writing. I used to journal. And I talked. In my adult life, I was like, well, why is the same thing happening? Why did I get with this guy? Why? Because I was married 3 times. Like, why is this happening? You know, why am I having failed marriages? That's like a death. You know what I mean? What's going on with me? You know? And when I started writing, that's when I got healed, because I realized there was a pattern, and I was using the energy in a wrong way. And it took people that were authors that were authors that wrote books like Marianne Williamson. You know Marianne Williamson? Marianne Williamson put me on the stage of Town Hall right here on, what is that, 6th Avenue, and brought me up in front of all these great people. And she said, what was it, Basha, that they told you that you couldn't do when you was a young girl? And I told her, they told me I was too skinny, I was too tall, I couldn't sing, I couldn't talk. You know, they told me I was stupid, you know. But my grandmother said, you are smart and you're brilliant and you could be whatever you wanted to be. But I didn't hear that 2 years later. I heard what my peers said. They said, you're too tall, you're too skinny, you're too light-skinned, you're a light-skinned so-and-so, you know, the bad adjectives that they say to people. They call all of us, dark-skinned, light-skinned, white, black. They got negative names for all of us. You understand? And it was only till I realized, and other women shared with me and took me under their wing, that they told me that God made you perfect in His image, just the way you are. And these women literally put their arms around me and they said, we're going to take you to a retreat, and we're going to show you, get you a pen and a piece of paper, and you're going to start writing about your childhood and your adulthood. Because I was crying all the time, I didn't know why I was crying. Matter of fact, sometimes I'd cry and then I'd be scared to cry. But you know what they taught me, and this was through writing, is that you cry with an agenda. But you don't have to live in pain. That pain is inevitable in life, but you don't have to stay in the pain. You can know your agenda, and you can cry and let it go. I learned that through writing. I learned that through authors. I learned that through self-help books. I learned that through other authors. I learned a lot about the law through reading books of attorneys. You know, that's why I'm a community advocate right now. I stand up for the rights of all people. I don't care who it is. And they say, you're one tough cookie, Basha. And the reason they say that to me is because they know that I will stand up for the rights of anyone that I feel is, you know, is in the right. And even if they're not in the right, if they don't know better, then they can't do better. If they know better, then they can do better. And let's try to train them. So anyway, all this, as a young woman, I had 4 brothers. I got A's and B's in school. I was always writing. I was always the first one to do the homework, first one to raise the hand in the class. And I'm sharing this with you because I'm sure y'all can identify with this as a literacy group. I have a lot to offer you, and I want to offer it to you. I want to give it to you. But let me just share this last thing about my 4 brothers, because in memory of them, I always like to share this. My grandmother used to tell them to come sit around the table and do homework with me. They said one day she's going to be somebody, she's going to learn something, she's going to share it with you. Come do your homework. They didn't want to do it, and when my grandmother used to leave, they used to beat me up. You know, you sit down, you shut up, you know, they paid Johnny on the pony, I was the pony, you know what I mean? Like, stuff like that, And then, but what happened is that my brothers, because they weren't open-minded enough to learn, they're not here now. God bless their souls. I love them dearly. I know that they're blessing me. I know they're angels in God's kingdom. I like to believe that. I really hold them sacred in my heart. But I always ask God, well, since I'm here, I guess I better do something, right, God? Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. And the universe said to me, it said, God, the spirit in me, the goddess in me, said that you have to go out because you have a voice and you have to let it be heard. And the only way you can let it be heard is you have to make your own television show, tell the vision on television, because lives can be transformed through television and books. Because right now the networks are full of such garbage, and the children are getting that, and they're putting it in their spirits with the reality television. They're cursing each other out and all the stuff that's on television. You know it, you see it, you change the channel probably, and sometimes you watch, you know what I mean? Sometimes I watch and I change the channel, but I watch for various reasons. But God said to me to do a show, and this is the thing. I went to Oprah Winfrey's 20th anniversary. And the way I went to Oprah Winfrey's 20th anniversary is through a stranger who was an angel that I knew, who I had a friend who passed away. And he told me about his sister. Her name happened to be Beverly Reed, and I'm Basha, Riddick. And anyway, when he died, she was a stranger to me. And I picked up the book. I don't know if y'all know this book. It's called Solomon, the Richest Man That Ever Lived, The Secrets of Solomon by Mike Murdoch. Anybody know that book? Well, you need to get that book. It's called The Secrets of Solomon, the richest man that ever lived.
Write that down.
And he has a topic for everything in this book, The Secrets of Solomon, the richest man that ever lived. And the morning that my friend died, he was a musician, he was an artist, he was a famous artist. And I picked up the book. God said, go get the book, because I listen to spirit. God talks to me all the time. And I went to pick up the book, and it went right to music. I mean, how coincidental is that? There's no coincidences. I picked up the book, it said music, and this is what music can do for people, and this is how music helps people. And I called his sister, and I said, God is telling me to call you. I need to read this at his funeral. And she says, I don't know, because he's famous. There's going to be a lot of people. You have to call me at 5 o'clock. When I called her at 5 o'clock, she said, oh, you're on the program already. She says, just be there by 4:30, okay? And what happened is God was using me to minister to all his friends that knew him 40 years, the musicians. So when I read The Secrets of Solomon and what music means to people, I was ministering them. And this was at CCC Church, which is one of the hugest churches in Brooklyn that probably has about, maybe 10,000 members or something, I don't know. I can't count, but there are numerous members. And I'm on their big stage reading The Secret of Solomon, the richest man that ever lived. And that was because God was using me as a minister to them. And in that, I met the sister who was an attorney, and her and I fellowshiped, and 6 months later, I met her. I used to get her on the phone every day. I couldn't get her on the phone that day. We met coming in and out of a bathroom in Harlem. And she says, Basha, and I said, Beverly, where you been all week? I've been looking for you. We're hugging and kissing. She says, come outside, I got something to tell you. I said, what? She said, can you go to Chicago next week? I said, to Chicago, for what? Now, mind you, I had prayed to go to Oprah Winfrey Studios because I wanted to know what a new studio was like, to work in that big new studio. Because I'm going to be working in a big new studio one day. I've already claimed it, right? So the next thing I know, I'm on a plane to Chicago. So we got this all videotaped, it's all documented, where she was a stranger to me that morning, but she became a person in my life who was an angel that was my ticket to the Oprah Winfrey show after I prayed. So you don't know who God is going to use. And you don't know how he's going to use them. And he doesn't care what color you are. He doesn't care what size you are, what gender you are. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you really understand? Because this is so deep. It's like, I prayed like a couple of weeks before that to go to Oprah Winfrey, and I heard God whisper and say, be patient and just surrender all to me. Surrender to the universe. So listen to what your spirits are telling you. And the next thing I know, I came back, And right now, I came, and that was 6 years ago. I was on TV for 1 year. I got back to New York, it was 6 years, and I went to this church, and when I went into this big church in Brooklyn, which nobody even knows, they wouldn't even think it's a church, it's a TV studio in Brooklyn. I invite you all to come. Right now, I'm gonna be probably bringing my book fair back there. By tomorrow, we'll finalize it. It'll be back there at that church / TV studio / jazz bowl restaurant / office commercial space that is wonderful, and I've been a member there for the past 6 years, right? And when I got there, God said to do the I Love to Read book fair, speak to the pastor and start a book fair, because you want to have an author's corner for authors, and you want to, television, and you want to do empowering things. So the journey is fast forward. I've interviewed many celebrities, but as an independent producer, the celebrities are great, they're wonderful. But I also want grassroots people. I want you guys. I want people, the everyday kind of people that we can talk about issues in their lives. We can talk about some of the things we can do and highlight them. But the challenge of independent television, again, is that it costs money. You have to produce these shows on your own. But then I thought, and I meditated and I prayed on it, what can I do? And I don't have any money. And how can I make a book fair with no money? But God made a way. He told me to make the book fair like a sweet potato pie. You cut it in 4 pieces. Okay? And he did this 6 years ago around this time, around Christmas time. He said, it's like a sweet potato pie, because my first book fair was in February for Black History Month, but I started in December. And it was so quick, I just did it like that. He said, you cut the pie in 4 pieces. You get the place, you pay for the marketing, for the marketing person to get your people there. You pay yourself for the hard work you have to do to put it all together. And the other part is the profit to go to the people that are going to help you develop it and going to work with you. And then you give some to charity out of that 1/4%. You must give some back to charity. Okay? That's the model that God made. Not Basha, but God. Because when I woke up December 31st, 6 years ago, I didn't wake up thinking to do a book fair. It came to me as a vision. And the next night I jumped in and he told me how to do it. So what I'm saying is you take what's in front of you and you use what's in front of you. And because I had availability to a network that was willing to teach me a media and how to develop my own TV show, I went to school and I learned. And I learned through reading, lots of reading, and I'm still doing lots of reading. I love to read. So that's why I named the book fair I Love to Read, Multicultural Brooklyn Book Fair. Okay? Because I know how rich cultures are. Japanese, Chinese, Russian, Jewish. I watch and I look at all people, and I'm concerned about, and I want to know about their cultures, because that's only going to enhance me, because there's none of us here that is really one culture. We're all mixed up.